was trained as a medical doctor. So if somebody comes to the emergency room under critical condition, the first 3 questions we would ask to evaluate the patient is whether the patient is alert and oriented to person, time, and space. Alert and oriented to person. Hello, sir. What's your name? What's your name? Time, you know which day it is. Place, you know where you are. And if the person is alert and oriented to time, space, and person, then actually we can quickly assume that the person is coherent and the condition is not, it's more salvageable than somebody who's in a coma or totally discombobulated. So mindfulness is like that. We learn to be alert, awake, aware, and oriented to person, time, and space, because very often we're not aware of who we are as we try to be somebody else, to accommodate, to please, to escape, to fight, to flight. We don't really know who we are. And very often we're not very aware of our surrounding, the internal mindscape as well as the external space, environment, even the time, the date. We're very much lost. For example, if you sit at a computer for 2 hours, 5 hours, young people nowadays can spend 8 hours in front of the screen. They're definitely not alert and oriented to person, time, and space. So mindfulness is to be aware of what's going on inside us, in this body, thoughts and feelings, and to be aware of what's going on around us. To be aware. And when we learn to be aware of what's going on inside and outside, already that is training ourselves to be in the here and the now. What's really happening. And that is the best way really to learn to take care of suffering. Most of us, we suffer from something that happened from the past, in our childhood, in our, young life. And we continue to be haunted by the past. We continue to behave as if we are still victims of the past. Through our repetitive thinking, speech, and patterns of behaviors, we continue to perpetuate suffering. We continue to run or to fight, to try to escape or to check out, to be out of body, out of our own body. So that is how suffering is perpetuated. That is how a victim becomes a perpetrator of their suffering. So to be able to be in the here and the now, to know what's going on, it will help us to recognize those unbeneficial, even destructive patterns, and to learn to breathe, to call our thoughts and feelings by their true names, and to say, it's okay, I'm right here, and I've grown up. Now I have more sovereignty. I can take better care of myself. I can learn I can use the spiritual practices such as mindful breathing, mindful walking, mindful sitting, to embrace the difficulties inside me so that I don't have to rehearse those negative patterns, negative coping mechanism, or the neural pathways in me. So we learn to put a stop to that and to learn to respond in the here and the now and not through the lens of the past. And we learn to literally to develop new neural pathways that are more mindful and peaceful, and that helps us to slowly heal the wounds of the past. And even if something atrocious, unpleasant that's happening right in the here and the now, mindfulness also helps us to respond to the situation with calmness, with clarity, instead of reacting to it. When we react to something, it could be just very automatic, and it can actually worsen the situation. But when we have equanimity, clarity, we can really have more control over the situation. We can control the damage. We can be more aware of the environment and save ourselves more effectively. So it's the process. We learn to go through the process mindfully from the beginning to the middle to the end, so that every step along the way there's mindfulness, there's clarity, there's peace. Even in a divorce case or in an abusive situation or unpleasant situation at our workplace, if we have mindfulness and wisdom, we will take care of the situation much more effectively. And when we look back, we will not have to suffer from trauma or from regrets, but we know that we have done our best, and that it gives us a sense of confidence and confidence and self-sovereignty, that we can protect and take care of ourselves along the way. That is the best way to take care of suffering of the present moment as well as suffering from the past.